Everything begins in the imagination. Everything. That is the truth I have discovered and shared with those willing to hear. There is no outer reality apart from that which we entertain within ourselves. What we accept inwardly, with feeling, becomes our experience outwardly. If you wish to experience wealth, prosperity, and abundance, you must not chase it in the world of effects. Instead, you must claim it in the world of cause, the unseen world of your consciousness. Let me tell you now, in the simplest terms, that you are already wealthy. You are already a money magnet. But this truth is only made manifest when you accept it, when you live from it, and when you feel it deeply within you as true. The feeling is the secret. It is not enough to say the words, I am a money magnet. You must feel them as though they were your living, breathing reality. All things are states of consciousness. Poverty is a state. Wealth is a state. Confidence, fear, joy, sadness. These are not things that happen to you. They are states that you enter. And the most beautiful part of this truth is that you are free to choose your state at any moment. You are not bound by your history, your circumstances, or your bank account. You are only bound by the imaginal acts that you repeat and accept as true. The first step, therefore, in becoming a money magnet is to withdraw your attention from the world. Close your eyes and turn inward. Let the noise of the outer world fade into silence. You have listened to the world too long. It has told you who you are, what you can have, and what you must suffer through. But the truth lies not in the opinions of others or in the evidence of your senses, but in the still, small voice within you that says all things are possible. Right now, as you sit here, you can feel yourself into the state of financial abundance. I am not speaking of fantasizing or daydreaming. I am speaking of assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Imagine, just for a moment, what it feels like to be wealthy. What it feels like to have more than enough. Not just enough to survive, but enough to give, to share, to expand, to live freely. How would you walk? How would you breathe? What thoughts would arise within you? How would you sleep at night, knowing that all is provided? When you say, I am a money magnet, you are not begging the universe. You are not pleading for something you do not have. No, you are declaring a spiritual fact. You are aligning your consciousness with the truth that money is drawn to you because your inner world radiates wealth, and wealth is drawn to wealth. Abundance recognizes abundance. There is a magnetic force in this universe, and it responds not to effort or struggle, but to belief and vibration. So declare it now, say it aloud or within, I am a money magnet. And say it not as a mere affirmation, but as a conviction, as something you know to be true. Feel the weight of those words in your being. I am a money magnet. Money flows to me easily and effortlessly. It is drawn to my presence like metal to a magnet. Why? Because I have assumed the state of abundance. I no longer think as one in lack. I no longer act as one in fear. I have stepped into a new identity, a new state, a new self. I walk as a wealthy man. I breathe as a prosperous woman. I live as one whose every need is already met. Now I do not ask you to believe this because I say it. I ask you to test it, to prove it for yourself. You do not need faith in me. You need faith in your own wonderful imagination. Let me remind you of the law. As within, so without. As above, so below. Your inner assumptions clothe themselves in external reality. What you think, you become. What you feel, you attract. What you imagine, you create. This is not positive thinking. This is spiritual law. You do not become wealthy by forcing yourself to think good thoughts for 5 minutes a day. You become wealthy by dwelling in the consciousness of wealth, by assuming it so completely that you can no longer remember the feeling of poverty. You saturate your mind and heart with the awareness that all things are already yours. When you rise in the morning, do not think of your debts, your obligations, your fears. Instead, enter the silence and speak to yourself like this. Today, money finds me. Today, I am open and receptive to unexpected income. Today the universe reveals to me new channels of wealth. Today I walk in abundance. Say it with faith. Say it with joy. Say it knowing that your words have power and that your imagination is God in action. You are a center of divine operation. There is no power outside you that is creating your reality. It is all within. It is not about hard work or hustle. It is about alignment. You can toil all day and gain nothing if your inner state is one of fear. And you can do very little, yet be richly rewarded, if your inner state is one of certainty and peace. That is the irony of the law. It is not your effort that brings the results, but your assumption. The assumption that what you desire is already yours. So let the words, "I am a money magnet," become your prayer, your song, your silent mantra. Say them in the morning when you wake. Say them as you drink your coffee. Say them when doubts arise. Say them as you walk down the street. Say them as you drift off to sleep, not as one repeating a wish, but as one affirming a reality. Let your inner conversations be filled with wealth. Let your thoughts be dressed in gold. I tell you this, when you no longer seek money, it comes. When you no longer fear lack, abundance floods your life. When you no longer chase wealth, but become it, then all the riches of this world flow to you. Why? Because you have aligned with the source. You have remembered who you are. The only thing separating you from wealth is a belief that says you are not worthy, not ready, not capable. But I tell you, those beliefs are lies. They were inherited, taught, absorbed, but they are not yours. You can cast them off like an old garment and put on a new self, a new state, a new truth. Close your eyes now. Breathe deeply. Imagine a life of unlimited financial freedom. Hear the sound of money entering your account. Feel the joy of giving freely without concern. See yourself traveling, living, expanding. Hear someone say to you, "You're so lucky," and smile, knowing it was never luck, it was your consciousness. I urge you not to delay. Begin this moment to declare the truth of your being. Do not say, "Someday I will be wealthy." Someday is not a place. Say instead, "I am wealthy now. I am rich now. I am a magnet to all the money I need." This is not arrogance, it is alignment. This is not fantasy, it is faith. Every time you doubt, return to the inner world. Every time fear arises, repeat the truth. You must become deaf to the evidence of the senses if you wish to transform your life. The senses only reflect what you have already believed. If you wish to change the outer, you must first change the inner. Live in the end. Speak from the end. Feel from the end. What would you feel if you were already wealthy? Dwell there. Abide there, and the world will rearrange itself to match your inner state. That is the law. That is the promise. Say with me now, and feel it deeply. I am a money magnet. I am a money magnet. I am a money magnet. Feel it, believe it, know it. Now go out into the world, not as one who is trying to get money, but as one who radiates abundance. Walk with a quiet confidence, knowing that your consciousness is creating your reality. You have placed your desire in the womb of imagination. It is done. It is finished. Now rest in the assurance that what you have imagined must come to pass. Do not look for signs. Do not dig up the seed. Live in faith. Live in the knowing. Let others chase, worry, doubt. You are different. You have discovered the secret. You have discovered the truth. You have discovered that you are the operant power. Say it once more. With feeling, I am a money magnet. Wealth flows to me now. Money comes to me in unexpected ways. Every dollar I spend returns multiplied. I am abundant. I am blessed. I am free. That is your truth. That is your power. And that is your destiny. Do not be concerned with how it will happen. That is not your work. Your only work is to remain faithful to the feeling of the wish fulfilled, to persist in the assumption that you are already living the life you desire. The how belongs to the higher intelligence within you. The law does not require effort. It requires conviction. The world around you, the people, the opportunities, the seeming coincidences, they will all begin to move and shift according to the picture you hold within. Your imagination sets the mold, and reality simply pours itself into it. When you persist in the thought, I am a money magnet, you are not conjuring something new. You are returning to your natural state. You were born abundant. You came from an infinite source. There is nothing lacking in the universe. and there is nothing lacking in you. It is only the conditioned mind that believes in limitation, in scarcity, in hard-earned struggle. But that mind can be renewed. It can be reprogrammed by repetition, by belief, by imagining. This is why I urge you to make this declaration more than words. Make it your identity. Make it your new self-image. Every time you say, I am a money magnet, feel the shift within you. Feel yourself light up. Let it thrill you. Let it excite you. Because that feeling is creative. That is the spark that calls the invisible into the visible. Money is not the goal. Freedom is the goal. Peace is the goal. Expansion is the goal. And money is the servant of these states. The tool that supports your vision. But if you chase the tool without the consciousness of abundance, it will always elude you. Say to yourself, I already have what I need. I already am what I seek. This inner peace, this inner certainty, becomes the magnetic force that draws all things to you. Let me tell you. Money is not moral. It is not good or bad. It simply amplifies the state you are in. When you are in a state of love, money serves love. When you are in a state of fear, money amplifies fear. So choose wisely. Enter the state of wealth, not from desperation, but from wholeness. Know that you are not trying to get rich to be worthy. You are already worthy, and wealth is a natural expression of that worth. When you hold the feeling of abundance in your heart, the outer world will echo it. It must. This is the divine law of consciousness. This is the teaching hidden in every spiritual text, every sacred scripture, every mystical path. What you feel to be true inwardly must express itself outwardly. It is the mirror principle. Life is your mirror, always reflecting back the state you occupy. So I ask you, what do you see in the mirror? Do you see lack? Then look again. Not with your eyes, but with your imagination. See differently. Assume differently. If you do not like what is reflected, do not curse the mirror. Change the image within. Change the assumption, and the reflection must change. Now you may say, but I've said, I am a money magnet before, and nothing happened. And I say to you, it is not the words, it is the feeling. It is not what you say once, but what you believe consistently. The universe is not responding to your lip service. It is responding to your dominant state. And that dominant state is formed by what you persist in thinking, imagining, and feeling throughout your day. So persist. Even when there is no sign. Even when the old patterns try to return. Even when doubt whispers its familiar lies. Persist, because your persistence is the fire that melts the old and forges the new. It is your persistence that proves your faith. And faith, true faith, is seeing with the inner eye what cannot yet be seen with the outer. Repeat this silently within every cell of my being radiates wealth. I am rich in ideas. I am rich in creativity. I am rich in love. And money flows to me in divine perfection. Say it with your entire being. Let it soak into your subconscious like water into dry soil. Let it become so natural that you can no longer imagine yourself without abundance. That is the goal, to saturate your being with the vibration of wealth until you are indistinguishable from it. And then one day soon, when you least expect it, the outer world will change. Money will appear. Opportunities will arise. New people, new paths, new channels will emerge. But it will not surprise you. Why? Because you already knew. You already felt it. You already lived it. You were not hoping, you were knowing. You were not wishing. You were being. This is what it means to say, I am a money magnet. You are not asking, you are not trying. You are simply being. And being is the key to everything. There is something magnificent that begins to happen when you stop pretending to be poor and start feeling rich. When you stop telling stories of lack and begin speaking only of abundance. Your subconscious does not know the difference between what is real and what is vividly imagined. It accepts your words as commands, your feelings as law, and once it accepts the state, the world begins to reorganize itself around it. This is not magic. This is law. What you assume to be true becomes your experience. Every single time you feel lack, you have a sacred opportunity. You can either react from that old state, or you can remember, I am not this feeling. I am not this situation. I am what I choose to assume. And so you return again and again to the assumption, I am a money magnet. I live in abundance, I walk with wealth, I breathe prosperity. And as you do this, you are building a new self, one that no longer needs to chase money because it is magnetized to your consciousness. Money begins to flow from strange places. You receive a gift here, a refund there, an unexpected client, a promotion, an idea that turns into income. But these are not accidents. These are reflections of the change within. You are not surprised anymore. You are not shocked. You smile because you knew it had to come. You are the cause. The outer world is the effect. Now understand, the work is not in the words, the work is in the embodiment. If you say, I am a money magnet, but still walk around with the consciousness of someone in debt, the law cannot operate freely. There must be congruence between what you say and what you feel. So cultivate the feeling, nourish it, tend to it like a garden, protect it from doubt, protect it from fear. When a negative thought arises, do not argue with it, replace it. Replace it with truth. Replace it with the higher vision. Say, no, I no longer believe in scarcity. I no longer believe in scarcity. I no longer believe in struggle. I believe in provision. I believe that all my needs are met before I even ask. I believe that the universe is generous, and I am aligned with its generosity. And in saying this, in feeling this, you become magnetic, not only to money, but to joy, peace, love, fulfillment. The greatest wealth is not in the number in your bank account. It is in the ease with which you live. It is in the knowing that you are always provided for. That is the ultimate abundance, the absence of worry. And this peace is born from your assumption that you are always supported, that there is a divine intelligence guiding your life, that the same power that turns the tides and orchestrates the stars is orchestrating your finances. So walk with confidence, walk with certainty, and when fear knocks, as it sometimes will, meet it with your truth. Say to yourself, this fear is not real. It is a remnant of an old state, but I am new. I have been transformed by the renewing of my mind. I no longer identify with lack. I am a new man. I am a new woman. I am wealthy now. Let your imagination be your sanctuary. Let it be the place you go when the world tries to tell you who you are. Go there daily. Go there often. Close your eyes and see the wealth. Feel the weight of the money in your hand. Smell the leather seats of the car. Hear the laughter of your children in the home you've purchased. Taste the meal in the restaurant you love. Let it be real, more real than the so-called facts around you. Because facts change, but the truth of who you are does not. You are divine. You are the operant power. You are the creator of your reality. And the universe, like a faithful servant, responds not to what you want, but to who you are being. So be it. Be the money magnet. Be the wealth. Be the success. Not someday, but now. Not in theory, but in feeling. Say it again. And this time say it with everything in you. I am a money magnet. Money flows to me now. I am rich in consciousness, and my world reflects my inner wealth. Now begin to notice something extraordinary, the shift that takes place not in the world first, but in you. As you speak and feel these words, I am a money magnet. Something subtle yet powerful awakens inside. The old patterns of worry begin to dissolve. The grip of fear begins to weaken. You start to sense a lightness, a calm assurance that things are beginning to move, not because you forced them, but because you've assumed their movement. The inner shift is the cause. The outer change is the echo. This is where so many fall short. They wait for the outer world to confirm the inner assumption before they fully commit to the feeling. But the law does not work that way. It is your unwavering inner commitment to the feeling of abundance that causes the outer shift. You must remain loyal to the unseen. You must remain faithful to the invisible. Faith is loyalty to the unseen reality. And when you persist in that loyalty, the unseen must become seen. The moment you fully embody the state of being a money magnet, you carry yourself differently. You no longer speak about lack. You no longer entertain thoughts of not enough. You no longer envy others because you know that you are the source. You understand that their wealth does not take from yours because you live in an infinite universe. There is no competition, no limitation, only different states of consciousness. You are in your own lane, walking your own path, creating your own abundant world. You no longer complain. You no longer blame. You no longer seek approval. Because you have tapped into something far greater than outside validation, you have discovered your power. You no longer need signs and wonders to reassure you. Because your conviction is the sign, and eventually reality will bend to match it. That is law. So your job each day is not to make things happen, but to maintain the feeling, to return again and again to the knowing that you are already rich, to act from that place, to speak from that place, to carry yourself as one who is already complete. This is the essence of creation. It is not about effort, it is about identity. You are not trying to attract money. You are simply being the kind of person to whom money naturally flows. The more you align with this truth, the more you begin to realize that money is not something out there you must attain. It is simply energy. It is a frequency. And when you raise your own frequency through imagination, gratitude, joy, generosity, and faith, you become a natural match for that energy. It finds you. It chases you. It flows to you in ways you never could have planned or expected. You begin to live in what I call divine flow. You stop overthinking. You stop overplanning. You trust. You surrender. You know that what is yours will come. You know that delays are not denials, they are preparations. You begin to see that even the waiting has purpose, for it allows your inner being to deepen in faith and maturity. You stop fearing time, and instead use time as your ally. Each day is now another opportunity to reinforce your assumption, to strengthen your magnetic field, to live as though your prayer has already been answered. When you spend money, you no longer feel fear or guilt, you feel expansion. You feel joy. You know that every dollar you circulate is a seed, and every seed must return multiplied. You say to yourself, there is always more where this came from. Money is always flowing to me. I give freely. I receive freely. And because of this, money begins to treat you differently. It shows up more often. It sticks around longer. It multiplies. It honors the one who honors it. This is the transformation. You become the embodiment of wealth. Not just materially, but spiritually, emotionally, energetically. You live from overflow. You give from fullness. And you attract with ease. You do not need to struggle anymore. You do not need to wait. You simply need to remember who you are and what you're capable of. Say it again, this time with reverence. I am a money magnet. Feel it in your bones. Let it vibrate through every cell. Let it take root in your heart. And know that once it is rooted there, nothing in the world can keep wealth from finding you. Now with this feeling firmly planted in your heart, you begin to notice synchronicities. Small, beautiful confirmations that the universe is listening and responding. You overhear conversations about abundance. A friend suddenly pays you back unexpectedly. An idea flashes into your mind that leads to a new source of income. These are not coincidences. They are echoes of your assumption made visible. You begin to trust these signs, not because you are looking for them, but because they are natural byproducts of your new identity. You no longer try to manipulate the outer world. You have become wise. And wisdom knows that to change the reflection, you must change the image in the mirror. You have turned inward. You have claimed the power you once gave away. You have stopped trying to make things happen. And instead you have surrendered to the knowing that all things are already yours in consciousness. And that is where the real work is done. The outer world becomes your servant, your obedient mirror. It reflects whatever state you persist in. So you become careful with your attention. You become selective with your focus. You no longer indulge in conversations of lack or limitation. You no longer consume media that promotes fear and poverty. You protect your inner garden, because you now understand that every seed planted in thought bears fruit in experience. Every morning, you return to your center. You close your eyes and say to yourself, I am wealthy. I am abundant. I am a magnet for all that is good and prosperous. You do not say it out of hope. You say it from knowing. And throughout your day, when circumstances try to pull you back into the old self, you gently return. You remember who you are. You remember your power. You remember that nothing outside of you has any power unless you give it power. You are the only authority in your reality. This is the beginning of true freedom. Freedom from circumstance. Freedom from opinion. Freedom from fear. You become unmoved by the world and deeply moved by your inner conviction. You trust your imagination more than your senses, for the senses are always showing you the past, the old manifestation of your old state. But your imagination reveals the future, the reality you are currently building through your assumptions. You begin to live in a kind of quiet joy, a sacred rhythm. There is no rush, no desperation, only deep certainty. You see someone else succeeding, and you celebrate them because you no longer operate from comparison. You know your abundance is already secure. You know you are walking your own divine timeline. You know that your wealth cannot be missed, only accepted. This is the divine paradox. The more you let go, the more flows in. The less you try, the more arrives. The more peaceful you are, the more powerful you become. Because now you are aligned with the law. Now you are not swimming upstream, but flowing with the current of creation. Now you are not doubting or wondering, you are assuming and knowing. You speak the language of the fulfilled. You talk not about what you want, but about what you have. You say things like, money comes to me from known and unknown sources. And it does. You say every day I grow richer in every way, and you do. You say everything is working together to prosper me, and life begins to reflect that prosperity. And so the words, I am a money magnet, are no longer a technique or a trick. They are the truth. A truth you have lived, felt, and proved. They become a vibration that others can feel. People begin to say things like, there's something about you, you always seem so lucky, so blessed, and you smile, not because you're lucky, but because you remembered the law. You remembered who you are. You remembered that wealth is not outside of you, it flows from you. And now the life you once dreamed of becomes ordinary. Not because it is no longer special, but because it is now normal for you. You have adjusted your identity, you have elevated your standard. You have become the version of yourself who attracts wealth as naturally as breathing. Now that this has become your normal, you no longer question whether you are worthy of receiving. You no longer ask if it will happen. You know it already has. The vibration you now carry does not allow for anything less than abundance to remain in your field. Poverty cannot attach to you. Struggle cannot cling to you. You have risen above the level where effort alone determines outcome. You have entered the dimension where inner alignment governs all. In this state, your mind becomes clear, creative, inspired. You begin to receive ideas, profitable, intuitive, perfectly timed. You follow them, not with pressure, but with joy. Work becomes play. Action becomes inspired. And money, now your companion, flows in greater and greater amounts. You no longer wonder if you'll receive, but from where you'll receive next. This is the shift. You are no longer a seeker. You are a receiver. You are no longer in need. You are in overflow. And the beauty of overflow is that it blesses others. You begin to give freely, not to get, but to express your nature. You help others rise because you know there is no shortage. The more you give, the more you receive. You become a distribution center for wealth. It flows through you to the world around you. This is the wealth that multiplies, not hoarded but circulated with love, purpose, and gratitude. Gratitude, now your constant companion, expands every area of your life. You thank the universe before the money arrives, because you already feel it. You thank your imagination for showing you what's possible. You thank your past self for having the courage to believe. You walk in appreciation, and appreciation multiplies all it touches. You now see everything, every dollar, every opportunity, every blessing, as proof that the law is working perfectly. And it is. But you don't rest there. You go deeper. You continue to affirm your truth, not because you doubt it, but because you know that repetition is the language of the subconscious. You keep planting seeds of wealth, joy, ease, and flow. You no longer wait for abundance, you carry it. You no longer beg for success, you embody it. People notice. They sense something different in you. Not arrogance, but certainty. Not desperation, but peace. They are drawn to you. They want to learn from you. They want to partner with you. And why? Because you are magnetic. Because you have done the inner work that most people avoid. Because you have chosen to believe in a higher truth, even when the world told you otherwise. In your silent knowing, you become a quiet revolution. You no longer preach, you radiate. Your life becomes a testimony, not of how hard you worked, but of how faithfully you believed. You teach not by words but by being. Your prosperity becomes a beacon that reminds others what is possible when one dares to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. So when you rise each morning, you do not ask, will I be supported today? You declare, I am a money magnet. I am supported, I am guided, I am blessed beyond measure. You no longer live in reaction, you live in creation. You no longer respond to the world, you direct it through your state. You are no longer a victim of circumstance, you are a master of consciousness. You are a master of consciousness. Now as you live from this state consistently, you no longer need to convince yourself of anything. It is no longer about faith, it has become knowing. The words I am a money magnet are no longer spoken out of repetition, but out of revelation. They resonate from a deeper part of you, not as a wish or even a declaration, but as an unshakable identity. You say them now with the calm authority of one who has become the truth of those words. The bridge of incidents begins to form quietly, naturally, perfectly. People you haven't heard from in years suddenly contact you with opportunities. An idea you had years ago now finds its perfect audience. You receive an email, a phone call, a message, we want to work with you, your proposal has been accepted, you've been approved, here's a bonus, we'd like to offer you this deal. The events unfold not as miracles, but as logical extensions of the inner shift you have sustained. In this new life, you look back not with regret, but with awe. You remember the days when it felt impossible, when your bank account said one thing, but your imagination said another. And now you see, it was never the numbers that mattered. It was never the conditions. It was always your assumption. It was always your willingness to feel it real before it was visible. It was always your inner conviction that shaped the outer form. This is the secret the world keeps searching for. The world says, work harder, sacrifice more, struggle longer. But you have stepped outside of that game. You have discovered that the real work is internal. The real change happens in silence. That money does not come because you chase it. It comes because you allow it, because you expect it, because you know that what is yours can never miss you, and what is not yours cannot stay. So you no longer wait for abundance, you arrive in it. You no longer reach for success, you rest in it. You no longer plead for wealth, you preside over it, as one who has inherited the kingdom long ago, and simply forgot for a while. But now you remember, and in that remembrance, the illusion of lack falls away completely. You are restored to the truth. You are the source, you are the magnet, you are the embodiment of prosperity itself. You move through life now with a grace that cannot be imitated. It is the grace of one who no longer doubts their supply. It is the ease of one who walks with the full backing of the universe. There is no need to rush, no need to compete, no need to prove anything to anyone. Your confidence is not loud. It is deep. It is not boastful. It is serene. You carry the wealth in your being, and because you carry it within, it cannot be taken from you. Everything about your experience begins to transform. The way people greet you, the energy of the spaces you enter, the quality of your relationships, even the weather seems to respond to your frequency. Life softens for you. Life becomes generous. Doors open before you knock. Resources appear before you need them. Ideas land precisely when they are most useful. You live in divine timing. You live in the flow. You realize this was always available. This abundance, this harmony, this effortless magnetism. It was never something you had to earn. It was simply something you had to allow. And allowing came through assumption. Assumption came through imagination. And imagination, you now understand, is God's creative power flowing through you. When others ask you how you did it, you do not speak of hustle or hours spent chasing. You speak of alignment. You speak of the power of consciousness. You speak of how you learned to dwell in the end, to feel it before it appeared, to know it before it made sense. You tell them it was never about the external gain. It was always about the internal shift. You are now the living embodiment of a truth so few dare to claim, that you are not here to suffer and scrape by. You are here to thrive, to overflow, to expand, to give, to receive, to walk this earth as a child of the infinite, completely supported, completely loved, completely abundant. That is what being a money magnet really means. It means remembering your divine origin. It means returning to the truth that wealth is your natural state. It means stepping fully into your creative power and refusing to identify with anything less than opulence. And so you rise, not as someone seeking wealth, but as wealth itself. You enter rooms not wondering what you'll get, but knowing what you bring. You stop needing validation because your abundance is self-sourced. You are no longer the beggar. You are the giver. No longer the chaser. You are the chosen. No longer the seeker. You are the source. And so I leave you with this truth. You are not hoping to become wealthy. You already are. The moment you dare to assume it, to feel it, to live it, the outer world bows to your inner conviction. Say it not once, but endlessly with power and presence. I am a money magnet. Let this be your truth, your mantra, your foundation. The law is perfect. It does not fail. The world is not holding anything back from you. It is only waiting for you to claim who you truly are. Walk now as the embodiment of abundance, and wealth will chase you, not because you wished for it, but because you finally became it. My dear friends, I want to share with you a truth so profound, yet so simple, that it has escaped the notice of the busy and striving world. And that truth is this: relaxation is the key to the fulfillment of every desire. It is not through struggle or effort or worry that you manifest what you seek. It is through the serene assumption of the wish fulfilled. It is in stillness, not striving, that the creative power of your own wonderful human imagination goes to work. You do not need to fight for what is already yours. You only need to assume, in quiet confidence, that it is already done. And in that calm knowing, in that relaxed assurance, the bridge of incidents begins to form. It is not your work to create the bridge. Your work is to rest in the end. And this rest, this inner Sabbath, is the state of relaxed faith that all things are working together for your good. Now I ask you, what is your desire? Is it love? Is it wealth? Is it recognition? Is it health? Whatever it is, I say to you, it is already yours. If you will dare to assume that it is so, but this assumption must not be tense. You must not clutch at your desire as though it were outside of you, distant and difficult to grasp. No, my friends, you must relax into it as though you were slipping into a warm bath. You must feel its reality inwardly and allow the feeling to possess you. There is a secret place within you, the silence of your own being, where all creation begins. In that silence you are one with the infinite, and in that stillness the seed of your assumption is planted. But if you are restless, anxious, or striving, the soil of the mind is agitated, and the seed cannot take root. Only in the calm, relaxed acceptance of your desire as a present fact can it grow into form. You have been told, "Be still, and know that I am God." What does this mean? It means that in stillness, in relaxation, you come into alignment with your creative power. You no longer seek outwardly, for you have found the treasure within. You are no longer tossed about by appearances, for you know the truth of your inner state. You are no longer subject to the opinions of the world, for you have assumed your wish fulfilled, and in that assumption you rest. Now do not confuse relaxation with passivity. It is not laziness. It is alert stillness. It is receptive confidence. It is not the sleep of forgetfulness, but the sleep of fulfilled desire. You close your eyes not to escape, but to see more clearly. You turn inward, not to avoid life, but to create it deliberately. And from this sacred place within you imagine not what could be, but what already is. Imagine now that your desire is fulfilled. How do you feel? What is your inner state? Let that feeling rise in you. Do not force it. Simply allow it. Let it gently saturate your mind and body like a fragrance. Rest in that mood. Clothe yourself in the atmosphere of your wish fulfilled, and then let it go. Do not strain to hold the image. Simply trust that the imaginal act was planted in the fertile soil of your relaxed awareness. The world is a mirror, my friends. It reflects not what you say, but what you feel. Not what you want, but what you assume. If you go about your day tense, anxious, or desperate for results, then you are declaring, "I do not have what I desire," and the mirror will echo back that state. But if you walk in ease, with a light heart, and a quiet confidence, then you are saying, "It is already mine." And the world will conform to that assumption. We must learn to trust the invisible more than the visible. For the visible is only the outpicturing of an earlier state. If you want to change the world around you, you must first change the state within you. And the state that brings forth miracles is one of relaxed certainty. You do not need to convince the universe. You only need to convince yourself. And even that, not with argument or logic, but with feeling. Do you remember a time when something you desired came to you effortlessly? Perhaps you were not even thinking about it. You were relaxed, and in that state of non-resistance it flowed to you. That is the secret. Not to strive, but to dwell in the end with ease. Not to beg, but to accept. Not to chase, but to receive. I once knew a man who desired success in his business. He worked day and night. He read every book, attended every seminar, and pushed himself to exhaustion. And yet the results eluded him. He came to me in frustration and said, "What am I doing wrong?" I told him, "You are trying too hard. You are pushing against the current. Relax, assume the feeling of success, and then rest in that feeling." At first he resisted. He said, "But won't I lose momentum? Won't I fall behind?" I said, "What you call momentum is tension, and tension repels. What you need is flow, and flow begins in relaxation." So he agreed to try. Each night, he would lie in bed and imagine that his business was thriving. He did not force the images. He simply felt the ease of it, the joy of success, and let that feeling lull him to sleep. Within weeks, opportunities began to appear. Connections were made. Clients multiplied. And it all came not through struggle, but through alignment. Your subconscious mind does not respond to pressure. It responds to impression. And impression is made most deeply when the mind is relaxed. That is why the moments before sleep are so powerful. In that drowsy state, the walls of resistance fall, and your assumptions are received by the subconscious without opposition. That is the time to impress upon it your desire, not as a future hope, but as a present fact. You are the operant power, and you operate through assumption. But assumption must not be mechanical. It must be felt, and feeling can only be genuine when you are relaxed. If you pretend to believe, but inwardly doubt, the doubt will be impressed. But if you rest in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, even for a few moments, it is enough to set the creative process in motion. Do not underestimate the power of ease, for it is ease that draws things to you. When you are tense, you create separation. When you are relaxed, you become magnetic. Think of the rose. It does not strain to attract the bee. It simply blooms in quiet beauty, and the bee comes. So too with your desires. Bloom in the feeling of fulfillment, and all things necessary for its realization will come to you. You may say, "But how can I relax when my outer world is so chaotic?" And I say to you, the outer world is but a shadow. It has no power of its own. It only reflects your inner state. Therefore, if you would change it, you must turn away from it, not in denial, but in transcendence. You must enter the silence, and in that sacred stillness, assume a new reality. And in time the outer will match the inner. I do not speak of fantasy. I speak of law. The law of consciousness is always at work. You are always assuming something. You are always impressing the subconscious with some state. The question is not, am I manifesting, but what am I manifesting? And the answer is found in your feeling. What you feel habitually you become. Therefore, if you desire a new life, begin now, not by effort but by rest. Enter the imaginal scene of your fulfilled desire. Feel its reality. Let it be vivid and alive within you. And then relax. Trust. Know that it is done. Walk through the world with quiet joy, knowing that your assumption is creating your reality. And when doubt arises as it may, do not fight it. Simply return to the feeling. Return to the end. Return to rest. Some of you have been striving for years. You have tried technique after technique, and still you wonder why nothing changes. I tell you it is because you have not yet learned to relax. You are planting seeds, but digging them up each day with worry. You are affirming your desire, but feeling the lack of it. You must reverse this. You must feel the fulfillment, and then release all concern. You must trust the unseen more than the seen, and you must do it in peace. If I could leave you with one instruction, it would be this. Relax into the feeling of the wish fulfilled.
Make this your daily practice. Morning and night, enter the state of fulfilled desire, not with tension but with joy, not with effort but with ease. Feel it as though it were already true, and then live from that state, quietly, confidently, lovingly. You will find that the world begins to change, not by your manipulation, but by divine orchestration. Events will align, people will appear, opportunities will unfold, and you will look back and wonder how it all happened so effortlessly. And you will remember this: it happened because you relaxed. You let go of the need to make it happen, and you allowed it to happen. This is the secret I give to you, not hidden in complexity, but in simplicity, not buried in effort, but revealed in stillness. You are the creator, my friends, but you create not through force, but through assumption, and assumption blossoms best in relaxation. So tonight, as you lie down to sleep, do not replay the worries of the day. Instead, close your eyes, and enter the scene of your fulfilled desire. Hear the words that would be spoken if it were true. Feel the embrace, the joy, the celebration. Let that feeling cradle you into slumber, and know that in that moment you have sown the seed, and in due season the harvest will come. Relax, and you will manifest anything you desire, for the power is within you, waiting only for your ease, your trust, your quiet knowing. Be still, and know that you are the creator. So I say to you again, practice this art daily, not as a duty, but as a delight. The more you relax into the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the more natural it becomes, and as it becomes natural, it becomes real. The subconscious is no respecter of effort. It responds to naturalness. That which feels natural to you will manifest, because it has already been accepted as true. That is why a relaxed imagination is infinitely more powerful than a tense will. Consider how you breathe when you are at peace. There is no strain. There is no grasping for air. It flows in and out, rhythmically, effortlessly. That is the same rhythm with which your desires must be received. Inhale the feeling of fulfillment. Exhale the worry. Inhale the certainty. Exhale the doubt. Your breath can become your anchor into the unseen. As you relax into each moment, you are tuning your frequency to that which you seek. Everything you desire exists now, in a dimension just beyond your physical senses. It is not far from you. It is not separate from you. It is within you, waiting for you to consent to its reality. But consent does not come through force. It comes through surrender. And surrender is not giving up. Surrender is giving in to the truth that what you want is already yours in imagination. The paradox of manifestation is that you must desire with intensity, yet hold that desire with gentleness. You must want it, but you must not need it. You must choose it, but not chase it. You must dwell in it, but not obsess over it. And this fine balance is achieved only through the art of relaxed imagination. The one who assumes quietly is the one who receives loudly. The one who dwells silently in the feeling is the one who soon walks loudly in the results. You must understand, the moment you imagine your desire as fulfilled and truly feel it, it is done. The rest is not your concern. Do not ask how it will happen. The how is not your domain. The bridge of incidents will unfold in ways you could never predict. Your task is to remain faithful to the feeling. Your task is to stay in the state. And the easiest way to stay in the state is to live a relaxed life, a life of trust, a life of knowing that unseen things are more real than the seen, because the seen is born from the unseen. Let me tell you something that will liberate you. The thing you want does not exist out there. It exists in you. It is a pattern of consciousness, waiting to be activated. The moment you imagine it with belief, it begins to express itself through you. It is not that the world brings it to you, it is that your world molds itself around your state of being. And when you are relaxed, you are letting the clay take shape around your assumption. Do you not remember in the scriptures it is said that God finished all his works and then rested? That rest was not idleness. It was faith in the completion of what was already done. You too must finish your inner work and then rest. Not the rest of doubt, but the rest of conviction. When you feel that inner peace, that quiet assurance, you have touched the creative state. And from that point forward, it is done unto you as you have believed.
Too many of us confuse effort with progress. We are conditioned to struggle. We are told that if we are not constantly pushing, we are losing ground. But I tell you, true manifestation is not a matter of pushing. It is a matter of flowing. When you push, you are declaring that what you want is outside of you. When you flow, You are embodying that it is already within you. That inner shift is the whole game. That shift happens best in rest. Every time you assume something to be true and then rest in that assumption without doubt or contradiction, you are moving mountains. You may not see it immediately with your eyes, but the inner motion is already underway. People will be moved. Circumstances will change. Paths will clear. But you must not be like the man who plants a seed and then digs it up each morning to see if it is growing. Let the seed grow. Let it be. Your imagination is divine. It is God in action. And when you relax and let the imaginal act imprint upon your subconscious, you are doing the very thing the ancients called creation. This is the great mystery of the ages, that man is one with the Creator, and he creates through assumption. And assumption must feel natural to be effective. And what feels more natural than a relaxed state? If I could get this one idea into your heart, it would transform your life. You do not have to try so hard. Your trying is often the very thing delaying the manifestation. It is born from the belief that you are separate from your desire, but you are not. You are one with it, and your union with it is made visible through feeling. And feeling flows best through relaxation. So if you find yourself doubting, tense, or worried, do not try to fight the doubt. That only strengthens it. Instead, pause, breathe, return to your center. Ask yourself, what would I feel right now if it were already done? Then go there, gently. Rest there quietly. That state is your home. That state is your power. That state is the magnet through which all things are drawn. When you are relaxed, you are not distracted. You are present. And presence is power. In the present moment, there is no fear, no lack, no future to worry about. There is only the now, and the now is the gateway to all manifestation. When you are truly relaxed, you are living as though your desire were already realized. You are embodying the end, and from that embodiment, the world reshapes itself. I speak from experience, not theory. I have seen people who spent years striving only to receive their heart's desire the moment they gave up the struggle and relaxed. I have seen health restored, wealth gained, relationships mended, not through endless effort, but through inner stillness, through the gentle act of assuming and relaxing. So I ask you to remember this always. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. And who you are is determined by your state. If your state is one of ease, of trust, of joyful expectation, then all that corresponds to that state must come. It is law, it is the law of assumption. It is the law of consciousness. You must make peace with the fact that manifestation is not a doing, it is a being. The doing follows the being. The actions you take will naturally emerge from the state you occupy. But first, be still. First, enter the feeling. First, assume and relax. Then act, not out of fear or haste, but out of inner knowing. The relaxed state is not idle. It is fertile. Now even as you hear my words, perhaps you are beginning to feel a shift, a letting go, a softening. That is the beginning of alignment. Let it deepen. Let your breath slow. Let your shoulders drop, and with each exhale, let go of the belief that you must earn or fight for what is already yours in imagination. Let me repeat, it is already yours. There is nothing to get. There is only something to allow. And allowing is always done in a relaxed state. You cannot allow while resisting. You cannot receive while bracing. You must open. You must surrender. Not in defeat, but in assurance. What would your life look like if you trusted this completely? What kind of ease would you move with if you knew beyond doubt that all you desired was flowing to you? Can you feel the relief in that? That very relief is your access point. That is the state to dwell in. You do not need to maintain this state 24 hours a day. Even a few moments of relaxed assumption, fully felt, can shift the tide of your life. You will return to doubt at times, and that is okay. When you do not scold yourself. Simply return. Return to the state. Return to the scene. Return to the feeling. It is always available. You carry the creative power within you always. Let the world chase and strive and hustle. Let them be frantic. Let them believe that only through effort comes reward. But you, my friend, you know a deeper secret. You know that the universe responds to your inner state. You know that what you dwell upon with feeling becomes your reality.
and you know that the highest form of alignment is relaxation. So go now into the world, not to get, but to express, not to struggle, but to allow. Be the one who assumes with joy and walks with calm certainty. Be the one who rests, and therefore receives. Be the one who lives in the end. Now, as you continue to dwell in this state of inner poise, you will find yourself becoming increasingly sensitive to the subtle shifts of your imagination. You will notice how your body responds to the tones of inner conviction. You'll begin to feel when something is real to you, not because you see it in the outer world, but because you sense it as done within. This inner sensitivity, cultivated through relaxation, is the true compass of manifestation. You will no longer need to ask, when will it come? You will know it is coming because you feel it already as yours, and that is enough. You will also notice in this new state of ease that your desires begin to change, not in content necessarily, but in character. They become lighter, freer, more aligned with joy and less with compensation. You are no longer trying to fix something or escape something. You're no longer imagining from a place of lack or pain, but from fullness. The more you rest in the assumption of fulfillment, the less desperate your desires become, and the more magnetic they are. You are no longer creating from need, you are creating from being. And being is the highest state. There is a stillness that comes over the mind when it truly believes. It does not rush, it does not calculate, it does not panic. It simply knows. You must seek to enter that stillness, to make it your dwelling place. That stillness is not empty, it is full. It is alive. It is the womb of creation. And in that sacred silence, all things are born. But to reach that place, you must let go of the noise. You must turn away from the outer din and enter the inner sanctuary where imagination creates reality. Now hear me. You do not have to earn your manifestation. This is perhaps the most radical idea of all. We have been conditioned to believe that only what is earned has value, that we must prove ourselves worthy. But the law of assumption does not operate on merit. It operates on feeling. It gives according to your belief, not your effort. The moment you believe you are already the person who has what you desire, the law begins to move. It does not wait for a performance. It waits only for a shift in state. This is why the relaxed mind is so potent. It is not trying to prove anything. It is not bargaining with the universe. It is not pleading. It is assuming, quietly, naturally, gently. The relaxed mind says, I am. And the universe echoes back, you are. That is the secret to all transformation, a change in self-conception. And self-conception is best changed not through struggle, but through soft repetition in stillness. Think of the potter and the clay. If the clay is too dry, it cracks. If the potter rushes, the form collapses. It is through gentle, deliberate shaping that the vision becomes form. Your mind is that clay. Your assumptions are the potter's hands, and your relaxed state is the moisture that keeps the clay supple and ready to mold. Tension dries it out. Worry breaks it apart. But ease makes it malleable. And in that softness you shape your world. The longer you dwell in the state of the wish fulfilled, the more the world begins to organize itself to mirror that state. And this dwelling must become your home. Not a place you visit occasionally, but where you live mentally. The outer world may still appear unchanged, but that is only because the picture is still developing. Do not snatch the film from the camera too soon. Do not run from the process. Wait in faith. Wait in peace. Wait in inner knowing. Your relaxed assumption is not in vain. It is the seed of the miracle. I know some of you still feel doubt. That is understandable. We have been taught all our lives that effort equals success. But I am telling you now, in this work, the work of manifestation, effort is often the enemy. It introduces friction. It signals unbelief. The more you try to force it, the more you declare, by your trying, that you do not believe it is already so. But when you relax, truly relax, you enter into the Sabbath. And in the Sabbath, creation is finished. This is not philosophy. This is not theory. This is law. And it is a law that has been proven through time, by those willing to trust it. The ancients knew this. They practiced it under different names and rituals, but the core was always the same. Quiet the mind, feel the desired state, and surrender to it. That is the essence of all effective prayer. Not petition, but assumption with rest. And so, as you go about your daily life, practice catching yourself. Notice when you tense, when you rush, when you strive. Then pause, breathe, smile, even, and return not to worry, but to the end. Return to that calm center within, where your desire already exists. Ask yourself, how would I move through this moment if I already had what I want? And then move that way, not with pretense, but with ease, with grace, with stillness. You will find, as this becomes your habit, that people respond to you differently. Opportunities appear where once there were none. Ideas drop into your mind fully formed. You begin to feel carried by life, instead of pushing against it. This is what it means to live by assumption, and not by appearances. You are no longer reacting to the world. You are creating it quietly, calmly, consciously. Let no one tell you that this is fantasy. Let no one mock the power of imagination. For the world you see was once imagined by someone. Every structure, every invention, every movement of human history began in a mind. And it was not the mind in frenzy that created. It was the mind in vision. The mind that relaxed into an idea and allowed it to grow. You are no different. You are a creative being, and your world is your canvas. The brush is your assumption. The paint is your feeling. And the canvas responds best to the calm, steady hand. So do not wait for permission. Do not wait for evidence. Begin now. Relax. Imagine. Assume. Rest. These are not passive acts. They are the most powerful movements of consciousness. And when practiced daily, they will reshape your reality in ways so subtle, so profound. You will think it was magic. But it is not magic. It is law. It is principle. It is you, operating as you were meant to. Relaxed, receptive, radiant. And so I leave you with this undeniable truth. Relaxation is not weakness. It is mastery. It is the mark of one who knows the creative power within and no longer begs the world for crumbs of validation. The one who relaxes has assumed the throne. They are no longer at the mercy of circumstance, but are now the cause behind the curtain, the silent architect of their unfolding life. You do not need to hustle to be worthy. You do not need to strive to be seen. You only need to assume the state of the wish fulfilled and rest in it with unwavering faith. When you do this, you align with the rhythm of creation itself, effortless, elegant, inevitable. So the next time you are tempted to force, remember nothing forced lasts. But what is imagined with love, assumed with certainty, and held in quiet relaxation, that is eternal. That is divine. That is yours. Relax, and you will manifest anything you desire.